What is up, everybody? Jordan here with the Deck Box, coming back to you today with another Celestial Storm deck profile. Real quick before I hop into this video, guys, I want to let you know that I noticed in the last video things were kind of fuzzy. I do apologize for that. If you know, I recently got a new computer, so I'm having to work with all the settings and change things up to make things work just the way they need to. I changed the speed a little bit, the quality. It should be coming out better this time, but you know, we'll just have to see when I'm done with this. But as we go, I'm going to continue to improve the quality of the video. So I do want to apologize for that and let you know that I am working on it. But anyway, without further ado, today we're going to be looking at Swampert from the new Celestial Storm set coming out in just a few weeks. Real quick though, if you didn't already know, what I'm doing as far as when I'm releasing these videos is I'm doing a poll on Twitter to find out which profiles people want to see first. But the way I'm wording the question is, which profile would you like to see pre-released on the channel's Facebook page? So there is a Facebook page for the channel, facebook.com/thedeckboxtcg. So what I'm doing is when people vote on which deck they want, whichever deck comes out on top, that deck will first be posted in the Facebook page. So all the Facebook page followers get a little preview of the list. They get the entire list. However, they don't get the analysis yet, because that's in the video. So they just get kind of a head start. That way they can build this deck on their own with proxies, maybe do a little bit of testing with it, and then come back to this video a day or two later and kind of compare notes and see how things are turning out for them, if they're seeing the same things I am, or if they're seeing some different things. So that is why I'm doing it that way. I think it's great. Like I said, it's kind of a little perk for those that are following the Facebook page. And yeah, so be sure to go follow the Facebook page. And if you don't already follow me on Twitter, twitter.com, or sorry, yeah, whatever. The username is at J3T8LAK. There you go, at J3T8LAK. It's posted at the end of the videos in the credits at the end. So anyway, guys, we're going to hop into this list. I'm not going to jabber on anymore. We are looking at Swampert Magcargo. So Swampert is an awesome non-GX Pokemon from Celestial Storm. It's a Stage 2, has 160 HP, Water type. So the Water type is not super relevant right now because there's not much fire going around. If there was, it would probably be Ho-Oh, which isn't weak to fire. Or I'm sorry, isn't weak to water. Some have dubbed Swampert the new and improved ZOROARK. And I have to say, in a few ways, I have to agree. So it has this ability, Power Draw. Once during your turn, you may discard one card from your hand, then draw 3 cards. I don't think that's enough to make this a better card, simply because it's a Stage 2 versus ZOROARK being a Stage 1. So there's one thing that Swampert is better at with the ability, but worse at as far as the staging goes. So it's kind of a give and take there. But then you move on to the attack, Hydro Pump. It does 80 plus damage. Its attack does 20 more damage for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. So, in my opinion, this becomes a much better attack. Once you get the 3 energy on this, you're swinging for 140. Okay, Choice Band 170, that's a Lele. You add one more, you're at 190. That's a Buzzwole, that's Bulu, that's Rayquaza. It's all these big basics. Then you're up to 210. That, of course, is ZOROARK. That is 5 energy with a Choice Band, but trust me, with this list, it is so attainable. Because of Power Draw, being able to dig through for 3 cards. Real quick though, while I'm talking about Swampert, I need you to pay attention to one thing. There are 2 Mudkips, I believe, being released in the set. One has 60 HP, or 50, I can't remember. But the one you want to use is the 70 HP one. Plus, it's just super cute, so you got to use this one. But anyway, that is Swampert in a nutshell. It is weak to grass, and we'll talk about that at the end, why I think that may be a problem for it. But overall, I think this card is amazing. And then moving on from there, we do have Magcargo. Sorry guys, my mic is, or my headphones are causing problems for me. But anyway, we have Magcargo. Has this awesome ability, Smooth Over. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a card, shuffle your deck, and put the chosen card on top of your deck afterwards. So that's really solid. Basically, that pairs up with Swampert's ability to where I can just choose which card I want Swampert to draw right off the top of the deck. And the great thing is, we have Aqua Patch. If you don't know what that does, you get to draw, or you get to attach a water energy from your discard pile to one of your benched water Pokemon. So all I have to do is put an Aqua Patch at the top of my deck, discard a water energy. I'm guaranteed to get that water energy back, plus if I have another water energy in my hand, that's 2, and it just keeps flowing from there. I can also choose to get my puzzles, I can get my rare candies, I can just set things up perfectly with Mag Cargo's ability. Plus, in this list, Mag Cargo typically won't attack, but we do run counter energy, so if we need him to, we can. It'll swing for 50, choice band's 80. On a grass Pokemon, you're swinging for 160, not bad. Worst case scenario, he's a good attacker if you're up against a grass Pokemon and want to attack him before Swampert starts getting damage taken. Just something to consider. Then, of course, 2-tap Lele. This is going to help us to search out our supporters and just be able to, stay consistent throughout the list. That's really what Lele is there for. So those are our Pokemon. Nothing too crazy. Pretty thin linings of Pokemon. With it being a Stage 2, it's just about as thin as it can get. That is our Pokemon. Moving on to the supporters, I'm running Bridget's the same way that I run Bridget's in ZOROARK. So ZOROARK, you can trade things away, but you also want to get your bench set up. So I run 3 Bridget because this allows me to make sure I'm set up. I think pretty much every game I've played this except like one, Bridget has been in my hand from the start, which is just really, really awesome. I don't have to do much digging for her. I can just have her in my hand, open organically with it, and keep moving. So use Bridget, set up some Mudkips, maybe a couple Mudkips and a Slugma to get things rolling. And then from there, later on in the game, you can use Bridget to trade away and dig through, or power draw. I have to get used to saying power draw instead of trade. This will always be trade, just a better trade. Then we have draw supporters, 2 Cynthia, 2 N, and 1 Sycamore. Same as in ZOROARK, we don't need a ton of draw support because the power draw ability is just so strong. Being able to draw 3 cards at any point with a Swampert. If you got 2 out, that's 6. You got 3 out, that's 9. It's just insane. If you happen to have all 4 out, it's a rare occasion, but if you have all 4 out, you're drawing 12 free cards per turn, which is just outrageous. So really, having these guys is just in case we get into a tight spot. Then we have 3 Guzmas. This is going to allow us to take the knockouts we want to take. Like I said, Swampert's going to get to a point where he can be swinging for 170. And that means we're going to be targeting down our opponent's Lele's. And what people try to do is they try to build up on their bench a little bit and then come out and take down Swampert. So we have to do that first. So the problem is if we want to build up Swampert quickly, we have to have him on the bench to use Aqua Patches. So using Guzma allows us to swing him up into the active and take a knockout on the thing we want to take a knockout on. So that's why I run 3 of those. We also run 1 counter catcher. This is moving into the items. We run 1 counter catcher just in case we have a Swampert in the active and they're trying to hide something on their bench. We can bring it out, take the knockout, and move on. Then as far as items go, for Ultra Ball, again, consistency. We need to find our Swamperts. We need to find Mag Cargo and keep rolling through things. And then Puzzle of Time. So I chose to run this simply because, like I said, I'm running this very similar to ZOROARK. And ZOROARK runs puzzles so that it can get back any items or supporters that it's dumped and needs to get back. And what's great about this, about puzzles in this list, is I've had so many turns where I double Aqua Patch, attach, double puzzle, get those Aqua Patches back, play them again because I have more water energy in my discard pile, or I trade away some water from my Swampert, and I can just set up so much energy in a turn just because I have double puzzle and I can reuse these Aqua Patches. It's ridiculous. Or reuse the same rare candy that I just used to evolve 1 Swampert, grab it from the discard, evolve another Swampert. It's just nuts. It gets really out of hand with puzzles and with Aqua Patch in the same deck. Those 2 together are just super, super strong, and again, adds to the consistency of the whole list. And then moving on to Aqua Patch, we've talked about this a lot already. Allows you to attach a water energy from your discard pile to one of your benched water Pokemon. This is how we set up Swampert quickly. This is also why attaching at the beginning of the game with risk of being knocked out isn't a huge deal, simply because Aqua Patch then is activated. We can swing it on and have some strength there. Then we have 3 rare candy. We get to just skip Marshtomp, go straight from Mudkip to Swampert. Really adds consistency to it. Now I only played 3, and I know that seems odd because normally you want to run 4 if it's a Stage 2 deck. The reason I'm running 3, one, I've tested it and it's worked so far. Haven't had any issues missing it. So I run 3 rare candy. Like I said, you're not typically going to get all 4 set up. If you do, great. But but again, you have puzzles, so you can reuse the rare candy if you need to, or we run a 4-2-4 line up here. We have these 2 Marshtomps, so we can evolve organically up through the lines if we need to. And that's why I chose to only run 3. Now, if I ever did go to 4, I'd probably just cut one of these Marshtomps and do a 4-1-4 line. A little risky if you go against some item hate decks, maybe a Garbodor, or who knows what happens in the future, maybe Noivern or something like that. Could cause problems for you, so that's why I kind of keep those balanced. Then from there, 2 Field Blower. Garbotoxin is still around for this Worlds format, and that's kind of what I'm looking at here when I'm building this deck. This isn't post-rotation just yet. I'm interested to see what happens post-rotation with decks like this, because we're losing a lot. So anyway, right now we have Garbotoxin, so we do have to deal with Field Blowers. On top of that, a lot of people are starting to favor Fighting Fury Belt for the Rayquaza lists, and I'll be talking about that at some point over the next few weeks before the set comes out. In fact, we have a poll out right now on Twitter trying to figure out which list people want to look at next. It's between Rayquaza and Stack Attack Stall, and actually right now Rayquaza's winning, so who knows, Rayquaza may be the next one we do. But anyway, they're favoring Fighting Fury Belt. So we're using Field Blower to get rid of the Fury Belt so that Swampert can take an easier knockout. Because you have to remember, Swampert, each time you add an energy, it adds 20. A Fury Belt is an additional 40 HP, so that's 2 extra energies we have to account for. And to be able to Field Blower that away just really makes it a much simpler matchup. And actually, both the games I played against Rayquaza with this list, I know I've only played 2 against Rayquaza with it, but both times it just Swampert absolutely smashed Rayquaza like 6-0 and 5-0, something like that. Like I took all 6 prizes and the Rayquaza took none or 1. So it's a really, really good matchup for Swampert. So something to consider, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Then we have 3 Choice Band. Again, I talked about the numbers before. This is key to be able to taking solid knockouts. It makes it much easier because, again, 20 damage is added for each energy. This basically adds 1.5 energy just naturally without having to work too hard for it. Then 1 Floatstone. We don't want to get Magcargo stuck in the active or Lele. And really the only reason that we run just 1 is because, again, we can get it back with puzzles. We can get it through Magcargo's ability pretty easily. So we have ways to get it. It's not too difficult. Then moving on to the energy, we run 3 counter energy. These do count as water energy towards the damage, so that's great. It automatically counts as 2. So if you're behind, you attach 2. You maybe get a couple aqua patches going. Guzma take a solid knockout. Counter energy is great, and I would highly suggest if you get it in your hand early on and you don't have any other water energy, attach it anyway. There's not a ton of E-Hammer running around right now. That might change in the future, still unknown. But you can attach it, and it actually, you can still attack with it even if you're behind, or even if you're ahead in prizes. It'll only count as 1 energy, and it will be colorless, so it won't add damage. But say you have 2 water energy on, but you can't attack until you get the 3rd, and all you have is counter energy. Just attach it, then you can at least swing for 120, 150 with a Choice Band. You're doing some sort of damage, and if you go behind, then counter energy activates. Then we're looking at 8 water energy to close things out. This is a very consistent number. It allows us to be able to attach and allows us to be able to discard some so that we can use our aqua patches, and sometimes, like I said, we can use multiple aqua patches in the same turn, up to, I think, like I said, 3 or 4 I've done before, and it gets really out of hand. So guys, that is the Swampert list that I've chosen to test with currently. Like I said, so far this one's going great. Let's talk about some of the disadvantages and advantages. So first, let's talk about the advantages. Obviously, it's a non-GX Pokemon. The majority of the deck is non-GX, aside from Lele. That's just kind of a given with many decks. And there's a lot of times where I don't even have to place Lele on my bench, so my opponent's having to take 6 knockouts to beat me. So that's a huge advantage. It slows our opponent down, and we're able to take 2 prizes at a time, and quite rapidly at that. And that's the second advantage, is that we do have some energy acceleration with Aqua Patch. With counter energy, if we do go behind, we can come back up and take solid knockouts without even having to try. So those are 2 great advantages. And then the consistency. With Power Draw and Magcargo, it is insanely good. You're basically getting a free card plus the equivalent of ZOROARK's trade. Just consider that for a minute. It is insanely good, and definitely cause some problems for your opponents. Now, the downsides to the list, or I'm sorry, one more upside. This actually really does well against some of these big basic decks. Like I said, Rayquaza, Buzzwole, because it hits those right numbers. It takes a slight bit longer to set up than Rayquaza or Buzzwole, but once it's set up, it just starts taking those knockouts and getting their energy off the field, and just staying consistent drawing through. So far that's what I've noticed, is this does really well against big basics, which is kind of odd considering it is a stage 2. Okay, disadvantages. Obviously, the grass weakness, we have Zoropod still, and we have now we have Shiftry to deal with. I know those kind of suck. The good thing is, like I said, we can use counter energy with Mad Cargo. You know, that's the one option to kind of do some damage. The other thing is, like I said, if you can set up a couple Swampert, they might take one out, but if you can get enough energy on the second one, you can actually knock these guys out. Pod a little bit easier. Shiftry's a little bit tougher because of the 240 HP. I mean, you'd have to have quite a bit of energy on there, but you can make it happen. If you have to two-shot it, that's fine. They're taking one prize at a time, you're taking two. And when you take down a Shiftry, that's huge because they don't get to draw as many cards as you do. And then from there, if you take down all their Shiftry, all you have to deal with is ZOROARK, and they're much easier to deal with. ZOROARK cannot one-shot you. So the big downside is, like I said, the grass weakness. And of course, being a stage 2, there are stage 2 problems. So far, I haven't had to deal with that in this list simply because of Power Draw. Power Draw makes this so consistent. I cannot stress that enough. And even if you don't have a Swampert set up and you have like a Mad Cargo, all you have to do is use Mad Cargo's ability. You set up your top deck for the next turn. Your opponent has to end you to cause that top deck to go away. And if they end you and it's early game, you're still getting 6 prizes, or 6 cards in your hand, no problem at all. So there's lots of advantages to this deck. Like I said, the main one that I can think of that's a disadvantage is the grass weakness in stage 2, and I don't think those are enough to keep you from playing this list. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this list. Like I said, I would highly recommend giving this one a shot. This one will likely be a budget-friendly deck. I know we got Lele's, but now those are stupid cheap because they're about to have them as a promo, which I'll just throw this in there. I think that's awesome for the game. I'm excited because there's a lot of new players trying to get into it, and I couldn't imagine starting playing now, go to play, and everyone's like, oh, you need Tapu Lele's. Well, how many? Well, 2 to 3. Well, how much are they? $40. I couldn't see getting into the game. It's much more difficult, and I can understand not wanting to play it. So having it as a promo is awesome. Sorry, that was my little rant. But anyway, this should be fairly budget-friendly, aside from like puzzles, Lele. Bridgets, I think, are a couple bucks right now. They're not too crazy. But the Swampert should be pretty inexpensive, and you'll definitely have a good time with it. So guys, like I said before, be sure to go check out my Twitter account at J3T8LAK. Take the poll. Tell me if you want to see Rayquaza or Stack Attack a stall on the Facebook page next, which is facebook.com/thedeckboxtcg, and I will be sure to post it on there for you. The polling on that ends at, let's see, this video is coming out on Sunday. The polling ends at 1 o'clock on Sunday, so if you see this before then, go vote. 1 o'clock Central. Sorry, 1 o'clock p.m. Central. So yeah, guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please be sure to leave a like. Hit me up in the comments. Say hey. Let me know what you think of the list. Let me know if you've done any testing yourself with this list or with anything else from Celestial Storm that you think I should take a peek at, and I will definitely consider it. And as always, guys, thank you for your support. We actually reached over 300 yesterday while we were recording another video. We passed 300. Went from like 299 to 298 to 307. All in like a day's time, which was just awesome to see. That was great, and I really appreciate the help of Dead Draw Gaming and Super Oddcast shouting me out on Twitter and kind of boosting those numbers. So thank you so much to you guys, and thank you to all my subs, all my supporters. I greatly appreciate it. And for those of you that have not subscribed, please be sure to do that if you enjoyed this content and would like to see more, and hit the notification bell. That way you can see all the videos as they come up, and you can enjoy them and share them with all of your friends. So guys, thank you so much for watching. As usual, I have been Jordan with the Deck Box, where I want to know what's in your box. Have a great night, guys.